All right, fifth grade. It is Tuesday, the 28th of April, and this is our language time. We're going to look at pages 127 through 129. We're practicing the final three, which is conjunction, prepositional phrases, conjunctions, interjections. Okay, and so a lot of this will be review, but I want to go over some things with you. All right, and then we'll see if we will work at having time to look at it during our Zoom time. All right, so we're on page 127, which says interjections show feeling. An interjection is a word used to express strong or sudden feeling. The first example they give us, I'm right here on the top of page 127. The first example they give us is, phew, that was hard work. Or hooray. Or hurrah, the Red Sox are winning. And we see the interjection is first word in the sentence. And we see it's underlined, and we see that there is an exclamation point right after it, all right? So obviously it's going to be the first word in the sentence, because if you have a strong and sudden feeling, it's not going to be, that was hard work, phew. Okay, it's going to be, phew. You're going to have your first reaction. It's like if you hurt yourself, you don't say ouch after you've explained, I just fell and skinned my knee. You're like, ah, and then you say what happened, okay? So interjections usually come at the beginning of a sentence, like I said. Interjections have no grammatical connection with any part of the sentence. It's like they're their own thing. They are placed on a separate line when diagramming. So if you look at the diagramming there, you see here, oh, the tulips are blooming. Oh, the tulips are blooming. So you see when you diagram it, O is on its own line up here, and then your subject tulips, your verb are blooming, and your adjective the describing tulips. Okay, so when you have an interjection, you diagram it on its own separate line. All right, so strong interjections are followed by an exclamation point. Mild interjections are followed by a comma. Notice that the first word after a strong interjection is capitalized. So look at your example. Ouch! Exclamation. And then look, capital T in dog, the dog bit me. Okay, so when you have a strong interjection, the word after it will be capitalized. That's how we're going to tell the difference here in 1 through 10 between a strong and a mild. In a mild interjection, the first word after it isn't capitalized. There's a comma after it. So in a strong interjection, you have your exclamation mark, and then you have a capital letter to begin the second part of the sentence. In a mild interjection, the word after it is not capitalized, and you'd put a comma there. Okay, so we're going to practice that right now. So the first one, ouch, exclamation point, capital T, the dog bit me. The second one in our example, and right here, well, comma, isn't that interesting? Okay, isn't is not capitalized. All right, so let's look at think number one, underline the interjections in the following sentences, and number two, punctuate them with a comma or an exclamation point. So number one, we're going to underline the interjections. They're going to be the first word in every sentence. If it's a strong interjection, the word after it will be capitalized. Okay? If it's a mild interjection, the word after it will not be capitalized. So I want to make sure you can see here. So I'm going to do it in red. So here's our example. It says, ah, there they are. Now notice, is the there capitalized? No. So it's a mild interjection, so you underline it, and you put a comma after it, okay? When it's a strong interjection, the word after it will be capitalized, like here, the and what, all right? So this is a mild. This word is not capitalized. That's how you know it's mild. Now look at here, help, and then the next word is capitalized. The is capitalized. So we underline help, and we put an exclamation mark there, an exclamation point. Help, the boat is sinking. That is something that would be obviously a strong interjection if you're on a boat that's sinking. So underline help, because we see the word after it is capitalized. We know this is a strong interjection. So we put help, underline that, put our exclamation mark. What about this? Alas, and then your next word is capital what? That also is a strong interjection. How do we know that? Because the word right after the interjection is capitalized. So, alas, alas, what will become of the poor sailors? All right? So that is a strong interjection. Again, why? Because the word after it is capitalized. So you underline alas, and you put an exclamation mark after it. Look at number 4. Oh, it's all right. Now, is this I capitalized? No. So O is a mild interjection. So you underline the O and you put a comma. Okay? Once again, strong interjections, the word after it, like let me highlight this in purple. The word the is capitalized. The word what is capitalized. That's how we know that these are strong interjections. The words after them are capitalized. Mild interjections, they're not capitalized. This T is not a capital T, and this I is not a capital I. So we just have commas to separate the interjection from the rest of the sentence. But in mild interjections, in strong interjections, you have an exclamation mark or point. Okay? All right, so let's look at number 5. Hooray, the battle is won. So we see after the word hooray that the T is capitalized. So that means hooray or hurrah is a strong interjection. So you're going to underline hurrah and put an exclamation mark after it. Okay? Number 5. Well, I will overlook that mistake this time. Now, we see that the I after the word well is capitalized, but I is always capitalized. The pronoun I is always capitalized. So let's look at what the sentence is saying to figure out if that should be a strong or a mild interjection. It says, well, I will overlook that mistake this time. That doesn't sound like something that's a strong interjection. Okay, it's not like, well, I will overlook that. Okay, it looks like, well, comma, I will overlook that this time. Okay, so you should underline the word well and put a comma after it. Number 7, stop. What was that? Now look at the word what after stop. It's capitalized, so that is a strong interjection. So underline the word stop, put your exclamation mark after that, exclamation point, and then let's look at number 8. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion. You see oh, and then the word that is not capitalized. Therefore, it's a mild interjection. Oh, comma. So underline the word oh and put a comma after it. That the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion. Number 9. Ouch, you are hurting me. Now look at the you. The Y-O-U, the word you, is capitalized after the word ouch. Usually ouch is going to be a strong interjection because that's something that you yell at. It's not like you slam your head against the wall and then you think, ouch. Okay, it doesn't happen like that 5, 6, 7 seconds later. Okay, it's like automatic, ow. All right, so ouch, underline ouch, put your exclamation mark or point after that. And the Y in the word you is capitalized. So that's another indication. Number 10, hush, you'll wake the baby. So even though that's something that you're not going to yell, you could see your parents saying, hush, okay? Or because it's a strong interjection, they're not going to say, hush, awake the baby. They're like, hush, awake the baby. Especially if they finally got the baby to sleep and you get it. So, and we see that the word you'll is a capital Y, O-U, apostrophe L-L. So that is a strong interjection. Okay, so underline hush, put your exclamation point after that, and that is a strong interjection. Okay, so pretty simple. If it's a strong interjection, the word after the interjection will be capitalized. If it's a mild interjection, the word after the interjection will not be capitalized. If it is a strong interjection, you put an exclamation point. It's an exclamatory statement, exclamatory interjection. So you'll put an exclamation mark or point, And if it is a mild interjection, after the interjection, you'll put a comma, okay? But still in the sentence, it's separated from the rest of the sentence, and we saw up here how you would diagram that. You put it on its own separate line, okay? So let's turn to page 128. Now we're gonna practice the final three. We're gonna practice prepositions and prepositional phrases, etc. So let's look at Think A. It says, number one, I'm going to place page 128, place parentheses around each prepositional phrase. Write in the blank the verb or noun that the phrase modifies. Now we did this back on page 122, okay, where we talked about the adverbs that they modified. So now we're going to write in the blank the verb or noun. Is a prepositional phrase being used as an adjective, or is it being used as an adverb, depending on what it's emphasizing. If it's emphasizing a noun, it's going to be an adjective. If it's emphasizing a verb, it's going to be an adverb. Okay, so I wrote the first four here for us to look at. It says the farmer cut the wheat with a reaper. So we know that our prepositional phrase, now if you don't remember what your prepositions are, they are words that connect you to their objects. So words like beside, between, above, below, in, out, over, with, beyond, around, out. I'm reading some of them: beneath, across, after, among, aboard, beyond, by, past, until, up, without, underneath, okay? And so you can find all those on page 115. So when you see one of those words, you look for its object. So here we see the farmer cut the wheat with a reaper. We see the preposition with, and this object is with what? Does it give us an object? Yes, reaper. So that is a prepositional phrase. So you do it in red here, we highlight the prepositional phrase, and then we ask ourselves, what is happening with a reaper? Is it giving us details about a verb or a noun? And we know that what are we doing with the reaper? We're cutting with the reaper. So that's an adverb giving us details about the verb cut. So you're going to write in the blank the word cut. Did y'all see that? You write the word cut. That's a word that with a reaper is modifying, is highlighting. The Vikings discovered the continent of North America. So I know that my preposition is the word of. So is there an object? Yes, of North America. So that's my prepositional phrase. Okay. What about of North America? Is of North America describing a verb, okay, or a noun? Well, here they're talking about the continent of North America. So that's an adjective describing the noun continent. So I'm going to write continent right here. Let me get out of the way so you can see it. I'm going to write continent because of North America is giving me details about continent. All right? Look at number 3. The oranges in that market are too expensive. So I know that my preposition is in. My object is market. Okay? Every preposition has to have an object in what? With what? Of what? Okay? And what is in that market? Oranges are in that market. So you'd write oranges as the word that it's modifying. So in that particular sentence, oranges are a noun, and it's giving us details. In the market is an adjective describing the noun oranges. Look at number 4. The chairs on the lawn need painting. So we know that on is a preposition. Lawn is the object. On what? Remember, every preposition is going to have an object. On what? And we know it's the lawn. And so, I'm sorry, I missed number 4. I skipped number 4, but that's okay. You'll be able to do it. I'm just giving you examples. So it says the chairs on the lawn needed painting. So what was on the lawn? Okay, chairs. So chairs is the noun that on the lawn is modifying. So in that particular sentence, let me get out of the way here. On that particular sentence, the chairs are the noun giving us details about, the prepositional phrase is giving us details about chairs, okay? I think you can see that, all right? So that's how you do the rest of these, all right? So we're gonna do just a few more orally before we move on. So let's go to number 4. Number 4 says he poured milk into the glass. So our preposition is into, right? And our object for that prepositional phrase is into what? Into the glass. So you put parentheses around into the glass. And what are we doing into the glass? We're pouring. So you would write the word poured in the blank. That is giving what's happening in the glass. We're pouring into the glass. We poured into the glass. So that is an adverb giving us details about the verb poured. Okay? Let's do 2 more and then I'll have you do the rest on your own. So look at number 6. The children were sledding down the hill. Okay? So our preposition is down. Our object is down where? Down the hill. So put down the hill in parentheses. And what was happening down the hill? What's happening? What are the children doing? Were sledding are the verbs that down the hill is giving us details about. So you would write in the blank, were sledding. The verbs were sledding. Okay? I'm going to do one more, number 7. He was accused by his friend. Our prepositional phrase begins with the word by. Okay, B-Y. And so by and the object, by what? Remember, every preposition has to have an object that it's relating to. By his friend, and that is in parentheses. And what about by his friend? What was happening by his friend? The verb was accused. The verbs, was is helping accused, was accused. And so you would write was accused as the verbs that by his friend are giving us details about. So by his friend, that prepositional phrase is being used as an adverb describing the verb was accused. Okay, the verb phrase was accused. So you're going to do 8 through 15 on your own. All right, and then in Think B, it says number 1, place parentheses around each prepositional phrase. Circle each conjunction. Okay, and, but, or, nor, for, and yet. You can go back and look at page 126 to review what the conjunctions are. And then underline each interjection and place a comma or an exclamation point after it. All right? So put in parentheses every prepositional phrase. Circle every connecting word. Is it connecting 2 words together? Like we talked about yesterday, is it connecting 2 groups of words? Is it connecting 2 sentences? 2 short, choppy sentences into 1 compound sentence. And if it has a interjection in front of it, 3 of them have interjections. Then if it's a strong interjection, the next word will be a capitalized, unless it's the word I, because you always capitalize I. And if it's a mild interjection, there will be a comma after it. Well, you're going to put the comma in. Let me give you an example. Let's look at number 9. Number 9 says, why? I don't believe they live near Miami anymore. Why? I don't believe they live near Miami anymore. So let me just show you an example there. So it says, why? I don't think they live near Miami anymore. Okay, so my prepositional phrase is near Miami. Okay, near is my preposition, Miami is my object, and this, why, is a interjection. I'm sorry, is a, yeah, an interjection, that's right, is an interjection. And I'm going to put, I wouldn't shout that, why? I don't think, I would just say, why? I don't think they live near Miami anymore. I underline that and I put a comma after it. If it were a strong interjection, I put an exclamation point or mark. I found my prepositional phrase near Miami. And then if you have one with a, let me show you number, number 5. Where are the pocket watch and the key to the trunk? So this is number 5. Where are the pocket watch and the key to the trunk? Question mark. Okay? So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look for my, that's number 5, I'm going to look for my prepositional phrases, which I see 1, I see right here. 2 is a preposition, trunk is its object, so to the trunk. Then I'm going to, I have my connecting word, and, so I circle the word and that's what I need to do when we see a connecting word. We circle it. All right, so let me read the directions to you one more time. Place parentheses around each prepositional phrase, circle each conjunction, and then underline each interjection and place a comma or an exclamation point after it. Okay, so I have done 2 different kinds for you. One with an interjection, one where you found your prepositional phrase and then you circled your conjunction. There are 2 more interjections to find in 1 through 9 in Think B. I found one for you. Now on page 129, you do not have to do Think C, okay? You do not have to do Think C. If you want to give it a try, that's fine. If you have extra time or what have you, we're going on to Think D. Think D says, each of the following proverbs may or may not contain a prepositional phrase. So some will have prepositional phrases, some won't. Proverbs means wise saying, and we have sayings, and we have the book of Proverbs, which has God's sayings, which are the wisest. Not all of these proverbs are from the Bible, but a proverb is a wise saying. So if there are prepositional phrases, find them, put parentheses around them. Okay, if the proverb does contain a phrase, put parentheses around the whole phrase and put adjective or adverb in the blank. What is it giving us details about? A noun, which would make it an adjective, or or a verb, which would make it an adverb. So let's look at number 1. Necessity is the mother of invention. And what that wise proverb is saying, something that is necessary, you'll invent and figure something out to make it happen because it's necessary, all right? So in that particular sentence, necessity is the mother of invention. Our prepositional phrase is of invention, so you put that in parentheses. And necessity is giving us details about, of invention, is giving us details about what? What of invention? The mother of invention. So mother is a noun. So in that particular sentence, of invention is giving us details about the noun mother. Therefore, it is an adjective because it's giving us details about a noun. I'm going to say that again. Of invention is a prepositional phrase giving us details about the noun mother. That makes that prepositional phrase in that particular sentence, it's being used as an adjective. All right, so you would write ADJ in the blank. Now, if there is no phrase, write none in the blank. If there's no prepositional phrase. There are, looks like 4 that don't have a prepositional phrase. Okay, so let's look at number 5. Here's an example of a prepositional phrase used as an adverb, meaning it's giving us details about a verb. It says, Rome was not built in a day. Rome was not built in a day. Our prepositional phrase is in a day. Good. And what happened in a day? your verbs, was built. Rome was built in a day. And not is an adverb. So that's why you would just underline your verbs twice, was and built. And you would write adverb in the blank, because in that particular prepositional phrase, it's giving you details about the verbs was built. Okay? Was built. And those are verbs. And therefore, in a day, like I said, it's giving us details about was built, which are verbs, which makes in a day that prepositional phrase an adverb. All right? And we'll go over these, but we've done these before. You did this back on page 123 or 2 or something, I think. And so you should be somewhat familiar with these. You do not have to do the go back where you go back and you diagram. You don't have to do that. I wanted to tell you one more thing. Let's see if I remember. Make sure that you... make sure that the one thing you do for the go back, I'd like you to underline the subjects and the verbs. I think that will help you figure out if it's an adjective giving details about the subject or not. Okay. So find your subjects and your verbs, and some of them. Oh, it says just in 4, 5, 6, and 9, 10, and 14. Those are the only ones you need to find subject and the verbs in. But you don't have to take notebook paper. You don't have to diagram, okay? Find the subjects and the verbs. Do number 1. I'm right here, and go back. Do number 1, but you don't have to do number 2. You don't have to diagram, all right? So that is your language for today. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, FaceTime me, and I will help you in any way I can. All right, so do a good job.